This is Soup Business Landscape. Hello and welcome to your regular program. Welcome to SBL. This is where you should be this beautiful Friday morning. And to our Muslim brothers, we say thank you very much for being nice, being the very best side and version of you, and joining hands in growing this nation. Today, we will be talking about natural resources. We'll go to not just oil, not gas, but solid minerals and issues Nigeria is having with people that are parading themselves as representatives of that particular ministry going about and causing mayhem. We'll discuss this and more. Trump never leaves the news. We might get there. How is our economy doing? Are we on the path of righteousness? You heard that. It's a beautiful Friday, and we will get to talk a whole lot today. It's all about business. We ask ourselves many questions. We don't keep quiet about it. Is our development going the way our budget sounded at the beginning of the year? How is business, your personal business, and what is that is putting food on the table? This is SBL. No holds barred. We'll get to talk. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and welcome to the Friday edition of SBL. I'm not alone on this table. I'm still flanked left, right with very beautiful and handsome men. Your Excellencies, please join me as I welcome on this beautiful today.
I'm here to harass you today. Good morning. First of all, it's a Friday. And both of you decided to look like bankers instead of wearing our native attire. So I am here to harass both of you. You're both looking so handsome. Oh my God. But I will still harass you anyway. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. And welcome to the Friday edition of SBL. We'll have a good time, yes.
Okay. The fair one.
Good morning to you, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Hello, Chooks. Swift. Okay. Why are you so swift to harass us?
Okay, we apologize in advance.
We do.
We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll hit you with the first story. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Literally said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Soup Business Landscape. You're welcome back. Now, to the first one. The federal government has revoked over 4,700 mining licenses as part of efforts to sanitize the solid mineral sector and protect genuine investors. Director General of the Mining Cadastral Office, Obadiah Nkom, said the cleanup targets speculators who hoard licenses without exploration, stressing that the exercise has boosted investor confidence in Nigeria's mining industry. He noted that 1,400 expired licenses and 971 unpaid grants were among those cancelled. Nkom also warned against imposters posing as cadastral officers, who he said have defrauded, take note of that, seriously defrauded investors and damaged the sector's image to curb malpractice. The agency has integrated its system with Corporate Affairs Commission for real-time verification of applicants. He emphasized that reforms under this administration are creating a transparent and investor-friendly mining environment, attracting growing foreign and local participation. Now, this is one particular sector that every one of us need to search our lights, turn them on, and talk, and look at the things coming out from there. Now, why will I say that? It affects the poorest of the poor in those regions, be it their activities, be it them getting involved in the mining, be it them being used as labor in that particular mining, be it lithium, which is the cash cow right now, be it lime, be it gold, be it all of them. With the issues that also come with it, the pollutions, the human angle to it, the exploration and the exploitation. Now let's get to what is coming from the ministry. First, fraudsters in trying to pass as officers and officials of the ministry, going around and telling people that, hey, we have license to sell to you. Or come and, well, I'm a speculator here. At the end of the day, you're defrauded.
Okay, so there's something that's going on, and they've talked about the fact that the minister has talked about the fact that they now have verification offices that are going to be linking NINs with CAC. So your registration now comes with, you can't just register because there have been a lot of fraudulent registrations. I remember years ago, a friend of mine that lived in the north was telling me that, so there was this Niger Delta, the south is going to leave the north. What do the north really have? And he was telling me that the north is the richest region in Nigeria. And I was like, what do you people really have? And he was like, we have gold, we have mineral resources, we have this. And it looked like a myth for years. At least, thank God, with the help of the internet and all that, is coming to pass. There was something you said about the fact they are being affected. People do not say stories of when illegal mining sites collapse. And they do collapse a lot. Now, you have people that, the society, because over there, they tell you that the value of life is not as, as treasured as in the south region.
Who said?
Now, they are simpler people. There are people that tend to bury 24 hours.
Does that affect?
It affects. So in the south, when a mining site collapses and bodies are brought, family takes bodies to the mortuary, so there's proof. Those bodies can stay there for a month, then they prepare for a burial.
Okay,
now,
let's dwell on
this. We are dwelling on this. Okay. So when these mining sites collapse over there, you have 24 hours to bury your bodies. So it means that by the time regular authorities from Abuja or wherever comes, bodies are already buried. The ones that were even got out from the illegal mining. So illegal mining has been going on in the north for a long time. Let's not talk about the fact that
Don't you think for that particular consequence, more of poverty, nobody talks for the poor man? Unlike it is a rich man
it's the same thing we are saying. In the south, it's also the very poor in Ekiti and those places that illegal mining is going on in. But when they collapse, like I said, because of the fact there was a case of a collapsed mine, and it took two weeks or so for authorities to come. But there were bodies to show the authorities that our sons and daughters were working in this place. And it led to the arrest of the foreigners who owned the mining. But over there, like I said, 24 hours, because I listened to someone's analysis. And so by the time you come from Abuja, maybe it takes you a week to come, the relevant parties come. The bodies have already been buried. And how do you prove that they came from that mine? You can't. So let's put that aside. So, like I said, communities...
Body of proof is not just
life
body or dead.
No, sometimes they ask for this thing. So,
yes, you shouldn't be there buried.
So let's push that aside, because anybody can now prove that they were not buried there and money can change hands. But let's not go there. Let's talk about the fact that right now, miners are now being registered legally.
Okay.
Which is key. You are now being registered the way you register for your banking, for your companies. Your CSC must be linked to your NIN. So the point that you can just collect a license that was speculated, because I don't have proof going on before, that you can collect a license and sell to Priye or give to me or just leave the license lying there. Then a foreigner comes in and you give it to that foreigner to be doing whatever the foreigner is doing and claiming that you are not doing anything with the license yet, you are still trying to raise capital. That is now going to be on a big check, because when it's linked to you, if anybody is caught at a certain site mining with your papers, automatically you can come and be picked up, which was not happening in those days because people were transferring a lot. So that's the first step. The next step I'm going to ask for is we need to start to see not this mini revenue we are seeing. We have countries like South Africa, Lesotho, that their economy rests on products for mining. That is what moves their GDP. We need to see mining products from here go. We have gold in this country. Gold is the new cash cow. We need to see products from the north for mining boost the GDP so much that it should even supersede the oil revenue. It should supersede every other thing we are doing. So I think it's not just coming out with these laws. What's the implementation purpose, like we always ask? What are the implementation plans? Good one now. They are now registered. They have revoked some things. But what is the next plan? That's my question.
Okay, what is the next plan? Looking at the numbers of the licenses that that were given, well over 4,000 something licenses for mining. Okay, that were revoked.
They were revoked, 4,700.
4,000, over 4,000. Does that not call to question and ask us, are we really serious about this? Are we looking at major mining or just artisanal mining?
Okay, first of all, 4,709. I think from that 4,709, you have 1,200 expired licenses. Then we have 971 grants.
And those are refused to
pay. But the word, I'm surprised, the word grants, I don't think, are you supposed to pay back on grants given? Anyway, maybe
for
that's
equipment is to propel people that are going into the mining industry. So you give them grant, like loans, like agricultural grants.
But the word
give somebody grants to go and make money.
Yes, because you are supposed to build a mine. If you are building a grill mine, it takes time.
Why do they have to pay back for grants? Maybe that's the conversation for another day. Because the word grants sounds like you're going to pay. So I will consider that since the mining cadastral office has been given more than it gave like 971 notifications for them to come pay. And he said the DG, Obadiah says they didn't. So imagine what they did. So, Chuks, my interest, what caught my attention is that the DG is saying the revocation of the licenses and every other activity that we're doing at this moment is not a punitive measure. We are sanitizing the system. And if they are sanitizing the system, the fact that your license had expired, they are going to revoke it and take it. Except probably you've been active. You didn't just hold it and hoard it and use it as a collateral to go obtain loan from the bank. And the bank will be looking like, if you default, we've got a mining license. We are going to make money. The bank is looking at that. So they are going to withdraw it from you. Since we gave it to you, you held it back. Sanitizing the system will also mean, Chuks, that they were just holding it. They were not exploring it. They were not mining. So we are losing
revenue.
So if we are revoking it, we are going to reissue that license to others who are ready to mine, who are ready to explore. And when they do that, it's going to bring in more employment. I know you are even more concerned about that part of employment where the natives or the people who are indigenous people are around. But if we give more employment, we are talking about more productivity. And if we give more productivity in this aspect, let's just assume that they are moving from the hands of one domestic miner who refused to use his license to another domestic miner who is going to use it and who is going to actually process some of these raw materials that we are going to be excavating or extracting from the ground. And that in itself is going to improve domestic participation, where we are not giving it to foreigners. The other part that we should look at is the percentage of value addition that the policy that the government is pushing. Because I believe these revoked licenses, if they are going to end up in the hands of another domestic miner who, to some extent, can add value to meet the 30% that the government talked about, let's assume that itself is going to expand domestic participation and for us to retain the raw materials, even if it's not 100%, at least to 30-35% of value addition here before they go out. Because if we have the increase of at least 30-35% in value addition before they leave the shores of the country, we know that the value or the how much they are going to be sold or shipped out of this country is going to increase beyond what we used to experience before. Another thing that we should continue to look at is this. Bringing sanitation or sanitizing this system locally, it's almost the same thing that the government seems to be doing in the oil sector. But in this aspect, the cadastral office is going to be liaising with the CAC. I'm trying to get their full name.
Corporate Affairs Commission?
Corporate Affairs Commission. Because the DG is saying that in order for us to prevent speculators or imposters from duping or committing fraud, potential investors coming in. And when they do that, potential investors are going to lose investment confidence in the system when they go through the hands of these duple people. If that is the case, let us make sure that the certificate you are obtaining from the cadastral office is also being verified with the ones that you get. That means you're going to go through two institutions. The cadastral office.
You can just go through the office. The office will do the office can do the registration with CAC.
With CAC.
Or CAC forwards the company papers through the office.
That
you register. You don't need to go both.
That actually authenticates your registration.
What about the human beings that go about defrauding? We need to know who is from
those
this
are the speculators
who
that
exactly is from this office.
Is from this office. Then the offices must be told that, look, you will need to really identify those.
Whoever is on the field, we need to know.
They need to be identified, and your offices.
Okay.
So that the system needs to be also be digitized, because the Director General also spoke of digitizing the system so that they are able to put a finger on the activities of the companies that have been registered, and those who go about impersonating other companies that have been registered can easily be identified and fished out of the system.
Okay, I need you to lay your voice on this. Now, we are looking at 4,700 licenses that are being called off. Are these numbers not too much? These are, hold on, these are licenses that, as we speak right now, they say, no, put a stop on this.
Yes.
Now, that means there are other licenses that are more than this number that has been called off. Don't we have too much licenses out there for mining?
Of course, it's obvious that we do up too many licenses out there for good. But the other good thing is that the system is being sanitized. And I think that's even one of the reasons.
Now, if we have small chunk of people, individuals, one person, two people, just out there with shovel, gravel, and a basin,
and
digging,
they have a license.
And they have a license, how is that going to affect the total economy when we need bigger establishment to be able to do what other countries are doing? Because at this scale, it's not going to trickle as fast as much as we want for the economy.
Okay. So before now, you will know, Chooks, that the mining industry was completely unregulated.
Bam.
It was almost completely unregulated. It was the inception of this administration appointed Dele Alake to man that sector, to man that industry. And that is when we started seeing some form of regulation and regulatory activities coming into place. And though I can say the way we have moved from where we were when Dele Alake took over about 2 years ago to now, it's been laudable, but it's slow. It's slow in the sense that this should have happened like 1 year ago. This specific example. But however, they've made some form of progress, no matter how marginal. Then the government will need to put its feet on ground. I wanted to say boots. If necessary, we need to do that because we are losing a lot. And including Chooks, we are focusing on domestic participation. In most of the domestic participants or who hold licenses, they are part of the people bringing disdain to the system, because most of them are part of the people who grab licenses and don't utilize them. So if the government is trying to promote domestic participation in the mining industry, and we give these licenses to Nigerian companies and to Nigerians, and they are not making use of it, and they are using it in a way that is outside the conditions that are laid down for them to obtain these licenses, then it is wrong. Foreigners that are coming in, the only place we know that the foreigners are going against the law, which we need the government to be more strict about, is about getting this product completely without value addition in the soil of Nigeria. They get it out of the country. That is where we need to hold the foreigners to account. That look, for local processing, we are saying 30% for locals. For foreigners, you must do 50% of value addition before you get them out of this country. And if the foreigners are mandated, because this is a very, very capital-intensive industry, and the returns also are humongous. So if we're going to do that and we mandate foreigners to say, okay, even if 50% is too much, at least 40%, if the locals can do 30%, you can do 40%. In that way, we will force their hand to come and build up and erect some facilities and some plants here. And when they do that, it still accrues to us in form of giving employment not only to our people, but also as a form of tax that is going to go back to the government. And value addition that can translate into the technology that will move from the foreigners to the locals, who can then replicate that in their own establishment by erecting their facilities.
Okay. Let me come to you, Swift.
Yes.
Let's look at the local people right now. If you get from the middle belt and down to the far north, you get to see that just like the way people wake up in the morning and go to farm and go plant maize or weed their farm or harvest, some people also do the same thing. They wake up and go to a stream bed or a river bed.
Don't forget the people in the south too. They mine too there.
And they mine gold.
No, it's important.
Yeah. So now let's look at the local people. Now. To what extent is license or no license going to affect their livelihood? Because this is what they've done for ages.
Yes. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is the sanitation necessary? Yes. If you look at why they are sanitizing, as of 2024, federal government made 38 billion from the mining industry. As of 2025, the first quarter, they made about 6.8 billion from fees, mining fees alone, people who paid their mining fees, who registered. That's telling you that. You see, when you were saying shovel, I was laughing. To build a mining set, if you don't have probably 2 billion or 3, that's a regular small mining set, because you have to go under, you have to use facilities to dig so that people can go under tunnels and all that, and lightings. It's a structure. It's like an architectural building, and if it's not well built to international standards, it can crash. That's where the challenge is. So they just build, but it's a lot of investment. Number one. Now, you are talking about jobs. There would always be jobs. These people have always done this. It's always available. But are they doing it the right way? I remember there's this artist who is very popular, who happens to be half Nigerian. I don't want to say too much. He was into the mining business. And that's where he probably made most of his money from. And when Buhari's regime came, they withdrew licenses from people they felt were not their friends. Those were one of the things he kept saying online, that his license was revoked. And most of the people, these grants he's talking about, they gave certain people that they were sentimental to according to them. They gave some certain people licenses. Now he says he has been mining for over 30 years. He has been paying his tax. He came out online, did videos showing taxation receipts and all that. That he's one person that has always gone legally to pay his tax. He has never defaulted. If anybody's license was supposed to be revoked, it wasn't his license. But guess what? They revoked his license and they left people who don't pay tax, who are shady, who don't give any revenue to the government. Now let's push that aside. Let's now come back to the fact that, okay, there's new reforms. So for a long time, people who are doing the right thing in the mining industry, some people have actually gotten the shorthand of the law.
Let's talk about the local people in
the
the
communities. Now, I'm coming. Hold on. Now, he also talked about the fact that companies like theirs were set up in the interest of people. He talked about the fact that they built some schools, that they were working like oil and gas company, the real company. They built some schools for communities. They tried educating these people. But some of them suffered, like I said, the shorthand of the law, because leadership, or at some point, some people, the backdoor people, preferred people who were not trying to educate the communities, who were not trying to do CSR projects for the communities, who just had mining facilities there and were making their monies and going away. And they were not even, some of them were just settling backdoor. So right now, with the new structure in government, they are saying we want companies who are doing the right thing, who are paying tax, who are registered, who are giving CSR back to the communities. So automatically, with these companies, the communities would not suffer again. It's now legal, even to have you come work. It's not just bring anybody off the streets like before. There's now some training kind of process before you go into the mines to work. Like I was reading something in the South that they are now trying to start a school where they train them at least the basics, ensure that they have safety kits, because a lot of them go in there with just slippers and their regular clothes are not well covered up mining outfits. The regulation of this system, or this sector, that's the mining sector, is going to bring all of this out. But first, they must weed out the bad eggs, which is what they are doing. Anybody that has licenses that you have not been using your licenses properly, you should be weeded out. Don't forget that the mining sector, we have seen them arrest a lot of foreigners in the past 1 year or 6 months. All those people, and they have been saying, the minister has been saying that anybody that has been caught illegally mining, whoever gave these foreigners the access and all that, their licenses are going to be revoked. Those are part of the people that are losing their licenses too. So it is those people that we're not giving back to society. Once you have this registered, you are a company, there are CSR projects that are, it's mandatory by government that you must give back to society. So the community is going to benefit more now from the new laws and the new regulation. So we need to push for the new regulation.
What about the local people that have been on their own mining with their shovels and basins?
Was it in Abuja that the minister of the FCT minister had to go and pass a law that nobody is allowed to mine again? Because that was what was happening. They discovered somewhere in Abuja recently, about 2 weeks ago, and the locals went there, were mining with their shovels and basins as usual. Because
what do you get them to do?
And so they had to stop it, because he said when it comes to the ecosystem, just mining normally is affecting the ecosystem.
It depends on what they are mining. Some could just be breaking gravel.
Whatever,
you see that a lot.
Yes,
on that.
Whatever you are breaking, it is going to affect the ecosystem, especially
if you put food on
if it's not done properly.
Now, let's look at it from this angle. Now,
yes.
For those that live between what's it called, Niger State, between Paiko, Mina, there is most of their water beds, those streams, people go there to mine gold.
Yes.
Locals, they just go there with their shovel, and you see them, they've been doing that for well over 40, 30 years continuously. Are you going to tell them to stop?
Now, we have to tell them to stop. We have to stop it. So let me tell you why. They have been mining gold and selling at ridiculous prices. And this is the reason why the government is not making revenue. Now, you go and mine gold and you sell at 2,000 naira. And
there no better ways of regulating them than telling them to stop?
The person you are selling to at 2,000 naira is exporting it out and is giving it out for millions. This is why your region is not being developed. So like I said...
Do you stop them or look for how to regulate them?
You can't regulate them. You have to stop them. It's the same thing that happened.
When you stop them, how do you put food on their table?
Good.
These are local people. It's not as if maybe...
It's the same thing that happened in the South with the oil and gas, where people were having illegal refineries, and people said, how do you stop them? How do you take away food? If you don't take away that initial food from their stomach, it affects the whole country. Don't forget, it's not about their region. It's about Nigeria. We are all sharing. We are sharing the dividends of the country. And so we need every industry, from mining to oil sector to electricity, to be bringing money back into the GDP with huge substance, not just one person. We are not concerned. Yes, we are bothered about them. There are other things they can do. There's agriculture. There's fishing. Their areas are rich in all that. There's granite pyramids. There are a lot of things they can do. So why are you trying to deplete the mining sector of the federal government? Yes, it sounds unfair. It sounds like, oh, we have been doing it for years. You have been doing it for years. How much money have you brought back into the GDP of the system since you have been doing it for years? You are selling at ridiculous prices.
GDP. No, it's not GDP.
So let me tell you, years ago, I bought a white gold chain somewhere in Ibadan. And the man told me that this is an original gold chain, and I was laughing. And then I started wearing it to bathe, and I realized that it was actually gold. It never faded. I had that chain for over 10 years. It's from illegal mining. I bought it less than 1,000 naira.
Okay.
That chain in the Dubai market, you cannot buy it less than 300,000 naira.
It's government responsibility for regulation. Hold on.
Even as individuals, it also comes to educating them. We need to also educate our people, like shea butter, to understand and look. You are selling this at ridiculous prices.
Okay, now
you are not adding anything to the economy. And this is why Nigeria is not growing.
Hold on.
Yes.
Now, government's responsibility is oversight, regulation, policy. If I decide to go plant maize and give it out for free, it's nobody's business. I don't know. Hold on. Now, when we talk about people that have to make a living, you don't take food off people's table without giving them a solution.
This is where
that won't work.
Unfortunately,
I'm coming. I'm going somewhere.
Yes.
Now we have issues of conflict. majorly in Zamfara and all that, a lot of this conflict is stemming from solid minerals. But most times we don't get that rhetoric, but that is
Yes,
where
that's where
the
it's
conflict is coming from.
Yes.
Now, locals trying to make a living, people coming from outside trying to chase them away, bigger players and all
Bigger
that.
players, yes.
How can the government resolve this? Locals, bigger players, conflict manipulators and all that.
Sorry,
Okay,
Priya, please,
so-
before you answer, let me say something. You must understand, according to the rules of federal government of Nigeria, the rules and regulations, compared to in America, where if you buy a land and whatever is there belongs to you, at least you own over 80%. If you find gold, you find any mineral resource on your land, it automatically is transferred back to the federal government. So we don't, I'm sorry, you are crying, you have not eaten, whatever. If my land has gold, mineral resource, it's the federal government's own. It means that it is now, that's the law, it is now a part of the GDP of your federal government, how to build. These people have been mining for years. They have been mining in Ekiti for over 40 years, 50 years. What do they have to show? They are still the poorest region. They have been mining in Zamfara. They are still the poorest region. So it means that the federal government needs to take over. Let companies come in so that the regions can be built. It's not rocket science.
Okay. The question we asked earlier.
Okay, so I think a few things.
Okay.
First of all, when we say government comes in to regulate activities that regards to mining, or when if we are referring to what's obtainable in the Niger Delta, and we're talking about oil exploration, the government is regulating that system. And if the government is regulating that system, yes, if we're to talk about this issue, we will put it in a way where the government does not have to come, the federal government doesn't have to come in at all, where the state government takes complete responsibility, where each state is taking complete responsibility of the mineral resource domiciled in their state.
Yeah, but that's not what is.
Yeah, I know, no, I'm coming. I'm going.
South.
I'm coming. I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
That has been part of the public outcry coming from the southern part of the country. That look, everybody, restructuring actually has that as one of the components. That look, you take care of the mineral resources in your country so that nobody goes to Abuja cap in hand. Maybe if we do that, some of the poorest of the poor states who are completely oblivious of the fact that they are sitting on a gold mine. In their
They
case,
know.
they knew, and they know. They are not just that it's intentional. That means if it is intentional, you are carrying out an intentional act to defraud other states, and you are preserving your own, because you want in the rainy days you can now fall back on what you have.
Are they preserving their own?
No, they are just keeping it. Obviously, that means they are keeping it, and they are using politics and political power and access to the corridors of power, and even the one who holds power. And that has been perpetual since Nigeria achieved independence, because some regions in this country are still being
Spoon-fed.
not just, I don't want to say spoon-fed, marginalized economically. And that is not only reflecting in the solid minerals or in the oil and gas sector, it's also reflecting in which of the states and regions of this country you will see ports. Because we have ports in River State, we have ports in Delta State, we have ports in some of the states in the southeast. But are they open for business, and are they functional and activity? And do we have activities there, or a beehive of activities there the way we have in Lagos? We will answer ourselves no. We should answer no. And the people in authority knows exactly what I'm talking about. So let's come back here. So if we're going to be talking about this about mining and the mineral resources and what we need to do, then each state needs to handle their own affairs and pay dividends or pay royalties to the federal government. But in this case, when we have the federal government as the colossus and is calling the shots and is operating, I'm sorry, no matter how poor of the poor are in Zamfara state or in some part of the northern part of the country, and they're taking shovels to go and mine because they want to put food on their table, it results to illegal mining. If you do not have a license, if you are not an established company, and you do not fulfill all the conditions that is required for you to fulfill, you are an illegal miner. In fact, being an illegal miner, you having a license to mine, you can commit the infraction of an illegal miner, because your license actually tells you what to mine,
yes,
and in what area. So if people are impersonating, they are going into the system, they are bribing officials of the cadastral office and the CAC to get licenses that will take them to a specific location to go and mine specific minerals, because those are the things that are lucrative in the market. So that there's racketeering also going in there. Yes. And people are mining outside their license, so they become an illegal miner as well. So their licenses might also be withdrawn from them because they have committed infraction of illegal mining.
Okay, please add the conflict issues in these localities.
So
stemming from this.
Okay, so you see the conflict issues. Remember some time ago, you see the group Emancipation of the Niger Delta, because they felt they were being ignored and kept aside from participating or playing in that industry and in that sector, because they felt these are coming from our soil. You are taking the money from here and you are building Abuja. So we need to talk. We need to talk about this. So they came out with that group and they disturbed the country. And Obasanjo, in his wisdom, came out and said, you know what? We are going to make sure that the protection of the pipelines in your region that ferries the fuel or the crude to the refineries and to some other strategic places, we are going to make sure we have people from your communities who are going to give the contract to become security officials to protect it. In that way, indirectly, you are also getting from it.
Yes.
And that we can see where that has led us. Has that completely solved the Niger Delta problem? No, because they are not equally playing centrally when it comes to oil and oil exploration over there. So the same thing, if we are going to bring in the people of the north to also be part of the system, they also need to go through the system. The Niger Deltas have not been completely brought into the system because the people who are doing the cooking of gas and they are tagging as illegal refiners, they've gone an extent where they have developed local technology to refine the crude that is being got from that region and to sell. And mind you, Mr. Chooks, I know we had this argument some time ago with Doc. They have not, since they've been doing that, that means you have crude, you have some petrol and some other extractions filling the market. But we've not had, what's this fuel?
Diesel?
Diesel, but the one that is not adulterated, like we imported, that we have a very big multinational imported into the company into the country the other day, and it is fuel that was damaging people's car. It was people's cars, and it was a national disaster.
Yes.
The people who were doing the local cooking in the Niger Delta, did they bring out a bad fuel to sell to Nigerians? It's a rhetoric.
Hold on. At what point now are you?
It's a rhetoric. Okay, so if you are going to, no, I'm not justifying it, because if they are not registered as a company that has the license to carry out those activities, they are equally doing the wrong thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And we must clarify that. So in the north, I think we need to tell them that, look, if you cannot obtain the license because you feel it's big, you have many small miners, come together, form a company, pay the license for the fee. We'll give you the license to mine some of the things that you need to mine, that your license can afford you to mine here. In other words, we are opening up for small miners, artisanal miners like you, to also come play in the system. So you don't need to go through the back door to carry out mining activities. Okay. So the government, in making such policies like this, will also need to put into consideration that, look, we are getting we are getting these goods from the community. It is only sense-making for us to have the feeling of humanity, to be humane in our law and policy making, to make sure that these people on whose grounds and on whose soil we found this good to also be partakers of it. Because if not, the government's action cannot be justified.
Yes.
Lastly, Chooks, I think when we have other big players come into the system, most especially foreigners, and they say, because now the government is like, we are taking care of mining companies, we want big players to come in, we don't want them to lose investor confidence, we want big participants to come in, we need money into the system, we are regulating the system. Good. when these players come in, they employ the locals to go beneath, underground, some feet deep, to go and mine. There's accident, like she said in the first instance she was talking about it, and they die. Do we have insurance for these people? How much are they being paid? So while the government is making laws for us to regulate the system, we also need to make sure that the laws get to these areas whereby when the locals who cannot afford to set up a company goes to work in a Chinese mining firm and they're down there mining, their lives are assured.
Yes.
I mean, in fact, there's insurance. Their remuneration must be at a peak and what is obtainable if you're doing mining in China.
Yes.
If you're doing mining in the United States.
Okay, these are a whole lot of questions that beg for answers.
But Chooks, before you run to the next topic, there was something that was raised and it started to come before this administration started, and this is one of the things that is propelling this restructuring. People have said, you keep arresting people in the Niger Delta for illegally, trying to bring out petroleum products or whatever. But in the north, how many indigenes? We see you arrest foreigners. How many indigenes are being arrested? Like you said, people take their buckets. It is high time the government, the same way you clamp down on people in the Niger Delta, because they are both our resource production. What is coming from mining can literally feed this nation if it's done right. That's the truth. That's why they keep telling you that Nigeria is sitting on a gold mine or a diamond mine that we don't even know about. This is what South Africa is using to remain South Africa, Lesotho and co. What is coming from the mining sector alone is enough. So right now, federal government needs to start arresting the local foreigners. I'm sorry, yes, it's sentimental. They have done this all their life. I mean, the locals that go and, mine, they have done this all their life. Because what are they doing? They are mining and they are selling to Chad and other places who move our gold, who move our mineral resource, bitumen and all that. You move it to other countries at ridiculous prices. So you are sabotaging the system.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is business landscape.